August 6, 1984, Newark, New Jersey. Jones Street, Huntington Pizza. Only a handful of customers remained inside. A somewhat overweight bald black man was engrossed in eating a steak, while two others sat near the door, idly flipping through newspapers. The back door of the kitchen was pulled open from the outside. A tall, handsome white man with striking, deep-set eyes and a prominent nose rushed into the kitchen like a whirlwind. Ignoring the bewildered gaze of the owner and chef, he wrapped him in a heavy embrace. "Sean, what the hell?" The portly owner frowned, pushing him away. The man called Sean yelled excitedly, "Got some great news. I'm here to quit." "Damn it, you're crazy." "Say that again." The owner's face instantly darkened. "I'm fucking quitting, ha ha ha. Just got a call. My deadbeat dad, the one I never met. He's dead. I inherited a fortune." Sean's face flushed with excitement, and he punched the air. At that moment, the screech of tires echoed. A silver Buick pulled up sharply outside the pizza shop. The doors opened, and two identical twins, sporting neatly trimmed beards and dressed in silver gray suits, emerged from either side. Both were bald. "Boss, it's the Salamanca family." The two men by the door dropped their newspapers and looked outside. The large black man seemed oblivious, still savoring his steak with relish, displaying an unnerving calm. Without a word, the silver-suited bald twins flipped open their suit jackets, drawing submachine guns from inside. Rat-pat-pat. Rat-pat-pat. The storm of metal erupted. The two bodyguards had no time to react before they were riddled with bullets. The large black man, who had been the picture of composure just moments before, turned to flee. He barely stood up before bullets slammed into him, throwing him to the ground. One magazine emptied, the bald twins tossed the submachine guns back into the car. They drew pistols from their waists, aimed at the still-twitching large man, and squeezed the triggers relentlessly. Only when the click-click of empty chambers sounded did they expressionlessly scan the scene, then toss the pistols back into the car. "Get out. Kill. Get in. Drive away." 30 seconds total. All that remained was the pizza shop, now a ruin savaged by the metal storm, and 5 corpses lying in pools of blood. Sean lay face down on the floor, eyes wide, fingers clawing desperately at the ground. His face was a mask of terror, despair, and bitter resentment. "I haven't inherited the fortune yet. I haven't had time to enjoy life." In the deathly silence of the pizza shop, Sean's corpse suddenly twitched. At the back of his skull, bone and flesh began to rise slowly. A metal bullet, mostly embedded, was slowly forced out. Ting! It hit the floor, shattering the silence. Each. A groan of pain escaped as Wan Zheng clutched the back of his head and sat up. Who the hell said dying from a bullet through the brain is painless? He let out a soft sigh, pulling his hand away from his head and looking at it. Blood dripped from his palm onto his clothes. He glanced around the devastated shop, then picked up the bullet beside him with his bloodied hand. "So, I got shot in the head, again." The blood on his hand proved it was real. He wasn't exactly a saint, but waves of dizziness hit him. His head throbbed violently, his vision blurred and doubled. His mind felt like it had been thrown into a blender, thoughts chaotic. Wan Zheng clutched his head and cried out in pain again. His brain felt like scrambled tofu, utterly incapable of coherent thought. Only one idea pierced the fog: murder scene. Police will be here soon. Must leave. Now. His head pounded. His thoughts were scrambled. He vaguely remembered the back door. Staggering a few steps, he gradually steadied himself. As he pushed the back door open, fragments of his final moments surfaced: the words "Salamanca family. Whoever you are, I'll remember you." Wan Zheng's hand snapped shut, gripping the bullet tightly. Emerging onto the back street, he raised a hand to shield his eyes from the glaring sun. His head felt heavy and muddled as he stumbled in one direction. Instinct vaguely recalling his residence was this way. Sean walked down the street covered in blood, dazed and confused. He finally reached home, fumbling for what felt like an eternity to unlock the door. The moment the door closed behind him, Wan Zheng's strength gave out. He collapsed face first onto the floor, unconscious. The blare of police sirens sounded. The pizza shop was soon cordoned off. Officers held their guns. Faces tense but steps light, the perpetrators were long gone. This was just procedure. "All right, looks like they've flown the coop," a young officer said, holstering his gun and surveying the wreckage. "Jesus, did they start a war here? How many rounds did they fire?" There was someone else, an older officer stated, standing where Sean had lain moments before. "Oh Mac, you sure? Look here." The man called Mac walked to the back door, pointing at blood smears on the handle. Someone opened the door and left this way. All right. I'll canvass the neighbors and nearby residents, the young officer said, turning to leave. 2 hours later. Here, Mac Ermentrout looked up at the house number, confirming it again. Bang, bang, bang. Richie Roberts pounded on the door. Anyone home? Bang, bang, bang. Sean, I know you're home. Open up. We're police. We need you to cooperate with a homicide investigation. Open this door or I'm breaking it down. Inside the apartment, Sean's eyelids fluttered open. His eyes were unfocused, clearly not fully conscious. Thump, thump. Richie Roberts stepped back, then charged forward, slamming his shoulder into the door. After a few impacts, the weakened door burst open with a crash. Mike charged in, gun drawn, immediately spotting Sean, covered in blood, slowly pushing himself up from the floor. Freeze! Police! Rolling over to sit up, Sean looked up at the dark muzzle pointed at his head, then at the badges on their uniforms. His voice was calm. Got it. So, what brings you officers breaking into my home? They had gathered info from neighbors near the pizza shop, found his address, and come here. The whole process took about 2 hours. By now, Sean was feeling much better. Old Mac and Richie exchanged a glance, surprised by Sean's composure. 2 hours ago. Jones Street. Huntington Pizza. Need I go on? All right. Well, I could just tell you I was in the kitchen when the shooting started. Had no idea who opened fire and am a victim. Not a criminal, but... Sean shrugged and climbed to his feet. He looked down at his blood-stained clothes and hands, then back up. Give me a minute. I need a shower. This is really uncomfortable. Also, call me an ambulance. Or take me to the hospital first. Sean pointed towards the back of his head. Got a nasty gash back here. The bleeding stopped, but it needs cleaning and stitches. Are you telling me how to do my job? Richie Roberts shifted his gun slightly. Get your damn priorities straight. You're a suspect. I'm the cop here. You don't get to order me around. Don't move. I suggest you stay put. Richie's face was cold, authority challenge. You fled a crime scene. Until there's evidence clearing you, you better cooperate. Sean's brow furrowed deeply. He sized up Richie Roberts. Taking a deep breath, he said, You found me here, so you must know I'm just an employee at the pizza shop. Who says an employee can't be one of the shooters? Proving my guilt is your job. Until you can prove it, I'm innocent. A law-abiding citizen. A taxpayer. Presumption of innocence, that's the cornerstone of modern justice. Basic human rights. I suggest you don't make trouble for yourself. I can easily sue you for civil rights violations and police brutality. Sean stared unflinchingly into the other man's eyes. As someone with a criminal past, knowing how to handle cops was essential. He was white. Without sufficient cause, they wouldn't dare shoot. And this was America, where the air reeked of freedom. Cops? How? Richie Roberts was momentarily speechless. He sensed the problem, but his pride was stung. I doubt a pizza delivery guy knows much about legal statutes. How? Now you've added discrimination to your list of offenses. Discrimination against service industry workers. You're a police officer. You represent the force. Are you saying the entire Newark PD discriminates against service workers? Sean's lips curled into a mocking smile, further fueling Richie's anger. As a seasoned, battle-hardened contrarian, taking things out of context and blowing them out of proportion was second nature. If he lost a war of words now, Sean felt he'd be letting down the party, the people, and his sick PE teacher. You're full of shit. Richie Roberts flushed crimson. Shooting was out of the question. He was just stuck. All right, young man, old Mac finally spoke. He hadn't wanted to get involved. Retirement was just days away. Weren't you going to shower? Sean looked up at old Mac, speaking for the first time since they entered. Calm, quiet, lacking Richie's aggressive edge. Sean smiled, showing his teeth. Didn't catch your name, officer. Just call me Old Mac. Old Mac. Got it. Thanks. With that, he ignored Richie Roberts and began stripping off his clothes. Westchester County, New York. Upstream on the Hudson River. About an hour's drive from Manhattan. Stood a world-famous estate. Spanning 4,000 acres, 16 million square meters. It was equivalent to 5 Minjiwan gardens. Its owner's name, the Rockefeller family. Is everything prepared for tomorrow's funeral? An elegantly dressed middle-aged woman in a white suit asked the elderly butler before her. All is ready, madam, the butler replied. His beard meticulously trimmed. giving him a distinctly British air as he bowed slightly. Was the bastard notified? He was. Old Mac's intervention gave Richie Roberts a slight sense of relief. Though his face still showed indignation. He lowered his gun but didn't holster it, keeping it gripped in his hand. His eyes fixed warily on Sean. Old Mac gave a slight shake of his head. He'd been that fiery in his youth too. Before life wore down his edges and he learned to blend in. Need these for evidence? Sean, now stripped to his underwear, picked up his discarded clothes and pants and held them out. I'll take them, Richie Roberts said stiffly, seeing Old Mac remain silent. He took the clothes, watching Sean head towards the bathroom. He couldn't resist adding, "Hey, you. Relax, I'll leave the door open. You can watch me shower." Sean waved dismissively without looking back and entered the bathroom, not giving Richie another glance. Water cascaded from the shower head onto Sean's head. It streamed over the wound on his skull, sending sharp jabs of pain through him. Strangely, Sean relished it. The pain was intensely real, confirming everything was genuine. Somehow, he died and been reborn in this man named Sean Rockefeller. The how didn't matter anymore. Being alive was what mattered. Two sets of memories, emotions and all, had merged completely within him. It felt like a true fusion of souls. Since this was America, from now on, he was Sean T. Rockefeller. The T stood for teen, a nod to his inherited surname, One. As for the earlier trouble, gang warfare, machine gun fire. Truly a land where the air was thick with the scent of freedom. Very American. He closed his eyes, took a deep, savoring breath of that free air. The sweet scent of desire filled his nostrils. There was nowhere more fitting for him. He held out his hand, let the water run over it, and slowly clenched his fist. A faint smile touched Sean's lips. He felt it. He had grasped the pulse of time. In the living room, listening to the running water, Richie Roberts frowned at Old Mac. "Mac, don't you think his behavior is way too abnormal? You saw the scene. It was a war zone. God knows how many rounds they fired. Getting shot in the head and still making it home. No ordinary pizza shop employee could do that. Staying calm, even arguing back. When questioned by police right after being shot in a murder. I knew the dead guy. He was gang affiliated. There were no outsiders in that pizza shop. I bet my bet this guy inside is connected. If we crack him open, we find out who did it." Old Mac pulled over a chair and sat down slowly. "You can question him back at the station." Truthfully, Old Mac had no suspicion of Sean. After nearly 30 years on the Newark force, little street news escaped him. The dead black man was Daniel, Key Truck, the local gang boss. This was classic gang retaliation, a clear warning. The execution was professional, fast, clean, brutal, indifferent to bystanders. The style was unmistakable in Newark. Only one family fit. The Salamanca crime family. Evidence. None needed. It was all experience. Solving the case. Impossible. The Salamancas had stood for decades. Their crews had protocols. The hit team was likely already out of New Jersey. As for Sean, Old Mac didn't peg him as gang material. 30 years in the system gave him a sixth sense for that smell, even blood away. As for his unnerving calm after the attack and injury, maybe a special past, maybe strong nerves. Everyone had secrets. Old Mac didn't care. Sean towed off. Water had reopened the wound on his skull, a trickle of blood seeping up. He ignored it, dressing calmly in clean clothes. "Let's go, officers." "Too bad. Looks like you didn't call that ambulance. Guess it's the station first, then the hospital." Sean smiled at Mike and Richie. "You. Just wait till we get to the station. See how smart you are then," Richie spat, biting his lip. "Smart? I think you misunderstand." Sean's expression didn't change. He walked past Richie to the doorway. "I'm an employee. A victim of that shooting. Injured. Traumatized. As a taxpayer. Isn't demanding medical attention a reasonable request?" "You don't look traumatized to me," Richie snorted. "Only a doctor gets to decide that. Now, I need to lock up. Officers, mind stepping out?" "Fuck." Richie swore under his breath, face dark. Old Mac walked out as if nothing had happened. Sean locked the door and walked ahead of them. "I won't file a complaint about your insults. So, you're welcome. Here." A brown-haired man with a side part and a long, deeply lined face stood outside Sean's door. He knocked. Bang, bang, bang. "Sean, open up." No answer. The man frowned and turned towards the neighbor's apartment. He knocked, greeted, and the door opened a crack. "Hi, I'm Saul. Saul Goodman. I'm a lawyer." Saul handed over a business card. "I'm looking for Sean." Any idea when he's usually home? Him. The black neighbor looked at the card, then opened the door wider. Usually around 晚上10点. But you better try the precinct. 2 cops just came and took him away. Took him? Why? Couldn't say, the neighbor replied, shaking his head apologetically. Okay, thanks. Saul thanked him. Got back into his battered Suzuki. Cranked the engine a few times until it coughed to life with a puff of black smoke. And headed towards the police station. The police car stopped at the hospital entrance. Sean got out but didn't head inside. Instead, he turned and leaned down, blocking Richie's door. You strike me as a rookie. Richie said nothing, glaring darkly, waiting. If I were you, back at my place, you'd have shut the door and beat the hell out of me. No witnesses. And the other officer here, Sean nodded towards Mike. Sure as hell wouldn't testify you roughed me up. But now, I'm walking into a hospital. Every injury will be documented. So, tough luck, Officer Righteous. You missed your only chance to vent. You. Richie gritted his teeth, his face flushing darker. Believe me, son, even without fists. I know plenty of ways to teach you a lesson, old Max said, getting out of the car. Don't be mad. No malice intended, Sean smiled, spreading his hands. Honestly, I'm doing him a favor. Being this righteous as a cop will get him killed. Sean and old Mac walked ahead. Richie trailed behind like a disgruntled subordinate. Face stormy, silently seething. Looks like a ricochet hit the back of your skull. The bullet had lost most of its energy. Otherwise, you'd be in the morgue, a young doctor said, holding up x-rays. Besides the 3-centimeter laceration on your occiput, you have a mild concussion. You might experience some confusion. Short-term memory loss for recent events. Dizziness, nausea, ringing ears, insomnia. Sensitivity to light. Loss of appetite, vomiting. Usually resolves in a week. You're lucky. Thank the Lord. I feel lucky, Sean grinned, showing perfect teeth. No anesthetic. Just stitch it, Sean said to the ER doctor holding the syringe. You sure? It'll hurt, the doctor looked surprised. Pain helps you remember. It'll remind me, Sean narrowed his eyes. Never to let anyone point a gun at my head again. The doctor shrugged, picked up the curved needle, and pushed it through the flesh at the edge of the wound. Sean's facial muscles twitched violently, but his body remained perfectly still. Watching the needle pierce, pull, suture, knot, Richie involuntarily swallowed. This guy was unhinged. No normal person did this. Old Mac gave Sean a long, appraising look, then turned and walked out, leaning against the wall outside the ER to rest his eyes. Saul Goodman had almost dozed off in the waiting room chair when he finally saw Sean approaching, flanked by the 2 officers. He stood up, smoothed his suit, plastered on a professional smile, and strode forward. Gentlemen, I'm Saul Goodman, Mr. Sean Rockefeller's attorney. He handed his bar card to Richie. Richie took it, stunned. They'd been together the whole time. Sean hadn't called a lawyer. Your client was present at a homicide scene, injured, and fled. We suspect his involvement, Richie said coldly. The sliding lawyers on principle, handing the card back. As a law-abiding citizen and taxpayer, my client was injured in a shootout. The deteriorating safety in Newark reflects police failure. I will be filing a formal complaint regarding the use of taxpayer funds. Saul immediately showed his litigious teeth. He didn't know the details yet, but attacking first was standard. I need to confer privately with my client. No questions until then. All right, Saul, it's straightforward. Sean patted Saul's arm and recounted the events succinctly. Handle them. I need to rest. Daisy. Sean was casual. The U.S. legal system was complex but protective. Police powers were limited. Detaining someone meant restricting their freedom and required strong probable cause, approved by the DA's office, especially with a lawyer present and willing to fight. Like now. Half an hour later, when Saul pulled out Sean's ID details and pointed to the surname Rockefeller for Mike and Richie, the issue was largely resolved. Don't doubt it. Few people bore that name. Coupled with Sean's service record, he'd participated in Operation Urgent Fury in Grenada the year before. Reagan signed off on it fully. Explained his composure. Under fire and with the police. So, after Saul agreed to bring Sean in later for a formal statement, they were free to leave the station. Okay, Saul said once they were in his car. Now tell me why you urgently called me to come out here. They'd been friends for 10 years. Back when Saul was Slippin' Jimmy. Sean's mother hadn't yet OD'd. He was still in that fancy prep school. Before he sunk low enough to enlist. I called you. Sean blinked, then smacked his forehead. Damn, getting shot scrambled things. I got a call. My sperm donor father died. I'm inheriting something. Your father? Who? Saul asked casually. Philip D. Rockefeller. Oh, Rockefeller. Saul's eyes bulged. He whipped his head around to stare at Sean. Rockefeller. Holy crap, brake. Saul stomped on the gas pedal in his excitement. The decrepit Suzuki lurched forward violently. Sean screamed, his face turning white. Squeak. The car shuddered to a stop inches from a lamppost. Saul gasped, pounding his chest. Close. Too close. Are you fucking insane? Calm the hell down. Sean yelled, furious. Shot in the head 1 minute, nearly crashed the next. Just his luck. Your dad's a Rockefeller. How could I not be excited? Saul was sweating profusely but still grinning wildly. No shit. I'm Sean Rockefeller. What the hell else would my father be? Saul blinked. Yeah. Right. His excitement deflated. He thought it was the Rockefeller family, America's top dynasty. Sean decided not to correct him. Not after almost getting them killed. It was the Rockefeller family. He was inheriting a portion of that fortune enough to grant instant, absolute financial freedom. But he couldn't muster any excitement. Getting shot in the head twice in quick succession tended to dampen enthusiasm for inheritances. There was profound terror in facing death. Leaning his arm on the car window, looking out, Sean felt less excitement and more a deep, burning greed and desire ignite within him. Wealth. Power. In this life, or the last, he never wanted to experience being shot in the head again. Never let anyone point a gun at my head. They pulled up to Sean's apartment. He was exhausted from blood loss. No need for pleasantries with an old friend. He grabbed a pizza from the fridge, nuked it, wolfed it down, and crashed. He had to get up early to drive to Westchester County for the funeral. Looking ragged wouldn't do. Lying in bed, sleep eluded him. His feelings about this unknown father were complex. As a kid in that posh prep school, everyone had a dad except him. He hated it, yearned for it. Looking back, he's unemployed. Secretly addict mother could afford private school tuition. Must have been the father's child support. Growing up, he mostly stopped caring. But now, SEAL memories resurfaced. His junior year, his mother OD'd. The money stopped. He dropped out, hit the streets with Saul. Not ending up in jail or dead was pure luck. Later, Saul's lawyer brother pulled him out. Sean, with nowhere else to go, enlisted. Tomorrow. August 7, 1984. A yellow, sputtering Suzuki lurched along the highway from New York City towards Westchester County. Holy shit, you hit the jackpot. You know that? Damn it. I can't believe it. You're actually a Rockefeller. Saul, behind the wheel, was flushed with excitement, yelling, slapping the steering wheel, making the horn blare erratically. I always thought it was just a crazy coincidence that you shared the name. You bastard. You never said a word. Saul. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. You've been yelling the whole damn trip. Aren't your vocal cords dry? Sean gritted his teeth, white-knuckling the handle above the window. The wind whipped Saul's thinning hair back, revealing his shiny forehead. Veins bulged in his neck. His mouth opened and closed, uvula clearly visible. Sean congratulated himself on not telling Saul the truth yesterday. He'd have been kept up all night. Watch the damn road. I don't want to die in the ditch right before inheriting millions. Sean rolled his eyes. Of course. Relax, I'm an old pro, Saul said. Calming slightly, though the post-high euphoria was still evident. But aren't you excited? It's the Rockefeller family. America's first family. Top of the Fortune 500. The very definition of power and wealth. Thrilled. Absolutely thrilled, Sean replied dismissively, not looking at him. You look about as excited as a wet noodle. I found out yesterday. You expect me to vibrate continuously. Are you insane? So why the hell didn't you tell me yesterday? Saul was revving up again. Anyone normal would be over the moon. You freak. It's the Rockefellers. America's. I fucking know. Sean cut him off roughly, grabbing his head. Eyes on the road, please. I'm begging you. You said this 50 times. Yes. I know how insanely rich they are. But so what? So what? Saul bared his teeth, ready to argue, when someone ahead waved them down. A server in a black formal suit and top hat approached. This is the Rockefeller estate. May I help you? Hello, Saul flashed a professional smile, gesturing to Sean. We're here for the funeral. This is Mr. Philip D. Rockefeller's son. Here's the invitation. Saul handed over the black card. etched and lettered in pure silver, solemn, understated, luxurious. The server examined it, then bent slightly to look at Sean. The Rockefeller family welcomes you. Please park over there. Sean looked where the man pointed. It seemed like just woods. Saul drove into the trees and discovered it was a parking lot. Trees and flower beds artfully separated each space. Wow. Beautiful. Saul breathed, impressed. Sean, you see, this must be designed so cars don't ruin the estate's aesthetic. You never guess it's a parking lot from outside. This is luxury. This is class. This. Sean glanced around indifferently. He'd seen the imperial throne in the Forbidden City. His attention fixed immediately on the middle-aged, elegant woman seated centrally. Wealth certainly bought beautiful spouses. Pushing 60 in a white gown. Whether it was her bearing or not, she looked remarkably youthful, retaining a certain charm. She commanded the room, overshadowing her 3 sons and 1 daughter beside her. Good evening, madam. Sean gave a slight bow. The server had mentioned her name, but he'd forgotten. The woman merely scanned Sean up and down without a word, not even a nod. She just gave a look to a blond man standing nearby. Sean's brow furrowed instantly. Any trace of goodwill vanished. The blond, square-jawed man stepped forward with a file. Sean Rockefeller. I'm Philip D. Rockefeller's attorney. Per his will and family statutes, you will receive a monthly stipend from the Rockefeller Family Trust. Sean's gaze swept over the woman and her children, then settled on the lawyer. He said nothing, just nodded stiffly. Each month. Beside him, Saul was practically vibrating with excitement. The Rockefeller Trust. $1 million. Maybe. $500,000. Even $200K. We're rich. $1,000. Until your death. How much? Before Sean could react, Saul lunged forward, face crimson, neck veins bulging. Say that again. How much? $1,000. The blond man enunciated each word flatly. Saul saw for the estate's luxury, the priceless furnishings. The gathered billionaires had evaporated. He was a cornered wolf. That's impossible. Is this how Rockefellers treat their own blood? Sean was abandoned for over 20 years. Had to drop out. Struggled to survive. Ended up in the army, in a war zone. The Rockefellers owe Sean. Philip D. Rockefeller, as a father, owes Sean. He failed utterly in his duty. Completely. This is unjust. God won't forgive this. Saul raged, face contorted, arms flailing. The insult of $1,000 had truly ignited him. Yes, $1,000 wasn't peanuts. But you're Rockefellers. One of the wealthiest families in America, if not the world. Synonymous with power and money. And you offer $1,000 a month? Like tossing scraps to a beggar? You're insulting Sean. Insulting Philip D. Rockefeller. Shaming the Rockefeller name. I don't believe it. There must be more. As Sean's lawyer, I demand to see the will. The original. Saul spat, his earlier reverence for the Rockefellers gone. Enough. All right. 2 voices spoke simultaneously. Enough. Came from Philip's wife, the elegant woman. All right came from Sean. This is the Rockefeller estate. Not a venue for your vulgarity, the woman stated coldly. Fixing Saul with her gaze. You are in no position to judge this family. As for the will, show him. At her command, the blond lawyer opened his folder. I see nothing particularly special about this place, Sean cut in abruptly. And I certainly don't see you as inherently superior to Saul. But, no need. He looked directly at the woman. Saul stared at Sean, aghast. The room, including the woman, focused on Sean. Only now did they notice his unnerving calm. Even upon hearing the paltry sum. What are you doing? Saul hissed urgently, grabbing Sean's arm. $1,000 it is, Sean said, a wry smile touching his lips. No. Sean. This isn't right. There's a trick. That's not what you deserve. Saul pleaded, his face dark with urgency, but Sean pressed down on his arm firmly. Sean's abnormal calm made the woman study him intently. After a long moment, she spoke. The Rockefellers have traditions. Any blood relative receives a minimum of $1,000 monthly from the family trust. The payment is monthly. Non-negotiable. Non-transferable. Ensures basic sustenance in dire circumstances. Do nothing untoward. Bring no shame to the Rockefeller name. Sean just smiled. He didn't speak or nod. He took the documents the lawyer offered and signed his name. Sean King Rockefeller. You. Saul's face crumpled in frustration. But Sean's eyes held steely resolve despite the faint smile. Saul could only stamp his foot angrily, signing as witness and writing down Sean's bank account details. He then slapped the documents back into the lawyer's hand with unnecessary force. Sean's gaze swept the room, lingering briefly on the beautiful face of his half-sister, or was it half-aunt? He wasn't sure. Ladies and gentlemen, goodbye. Goodbye. The woman remained silent, but the three brothers murmured a reply. The Rockefeller dynasty spanned over a century, now into its 6th generation. 4 wealthy, idle Rockefeller men. Fathering illegitimate children was practically routine. Their own father having only 1 bastard was actually modest. The eldest brother already had 2. The brothers were unfazed. The family had clear protocols for bastards. No threat. No need for hostility. The wife,